multiplier stuff. Let's do the following. You have a particular base. This is the base of gold. Okay. And, well, I gotta make a smaller base, okay? This is the base of gold. And you have 50% reserve central bank. The central bank will have twice. Will have twice the banknotes. Okay. And commercial banks, again, let's do this again here. Commercial banks will have 50%. So it's going to look like this. Okay. This is gold. Now we have banknotes. And these are deposits. What if we increase the multiplier to 3? In other words, reduce the fractional reserve from 50 to, let's say, 33%. Well, red color, the system will begin to look like this. The pyramid is going to get wider at the top and narrower at the bottom. Okay. And if the, let's say the reserve system is like 10 to 1, if the reserve is 10 to 1, the monetary system can actually look like this. And then like this. We're going to have only, let's say, 1,000 units of gold. You're going to have 10,000 units of banknotes. You're going to have 100,000 units of deposit. Okay, I'll shorten them DD, which stands for demand deposits. Alright? So, the pyramid gets wider and wider and wider as the multiplier increases. Now, let's begin to do a little bit of the arrows. Suppose that you take a demand deposit and convert to cash. What happens? Now, the banknote, which is in the monetary banking system, that's part of the central bank and part of the commercial bank. Let's say you take your money out. This money, which is a deposit before, okay, so you convert the deposit to cash, and you take the cash out of the banking system. So that piece of cash here is demand for money. Well, what's going to happen with the deposit? The deposits, if this is withdrawn as cash, think of it $1,000 of cash. What's got to happen to demand deposits? Demand deposits got to shrink correspondingly. Okay. So, it's very simple. A small conversion from the $100,000, a small conversion of cash will shrink and straighten up the pyramid. Now, the next thing is, again, very simple. Let's write a picture. This type of pyramid is stable. It's a very small multiplier. This type of pyramid is unstable. unstable. Okay. So, basically what happens is, you just take a little bit of money out, okay, and this is the result. Now, imagine you take instead of, okay, I should have done something different. All right, let's do this. We'll have the same thing, but we'll have a $500, okay? Let's just do $500. All right. So, I'm going to do the same thing. It's 10,000. This is the pyramid. And you slice $500 out of the pyramid. This is converting deposit to cash. A small deposit, converting a small deposit into cash, means that the pyramid has got to straighten out a lot. Now, think of the next possibility. You take a $500 deposit and you want to convert it to gold. What's going to happen? You got only $1,000 of gold. If you want to convert 500 into gold, you literally got to take half of the gold. And then you literally got to take half of the banknotes to maintain 10-to-1 ratio. And then you literally got to take half of the deposit. So the whole banking system suddenly will shrink a lot. Half the money, meaning the banknotes, half the cash, half the deposit, demand deposits disappear. This is highly, highly deflationary. All right? So this is how it works. So you may get a banknote. So when you take money out, when you take your deposit, it goes like this. This is the process of converting deposit into cash. And now this is the process of converting cash into gold. Okay? Now, people converting massively, when people go ahead and convert massively deposits into banknotes, in other words, you go and take your money out of the commercial bank, we call this a bank run. Bank run. Which back in the old days literally meant you run to the bank and you take your deposit out. Well, when you take it out, you take it out as cash. So a bank run, the good definition, is a sudden loss of confidence in a commercial bank or in commercial banks, and a massive withdrawal of deposits from the banks. So people lose confidence, that's the psychological, and then they go and take their money out. That's a bank run. A bank run is a conversion of deposits to cash, to banknotes. Now, you may have the next phase. The next phase is called a central bank run. We are witnessing something very similar today in China, as we read before, where people are losing confidence first in the Chinese commercial banking system. So they're taking their money out of the Chinese commercial banking system, but they are also losing confidence in Chinese currency, the yuan. So they are taking their money out of the banking system. They can take the Chinese currency. Then they convert the currency to the reserve. For the Chinese central bank, the reserve is dollars. And then they take their dollars out of the Chinese financial system and deposit it in Hong Kong or Singapore or London or any other place on earth except China. Okay? So this becomes a central bank run. Central bank run is a sudden loss of confidence in the liability, meaning banknotes of a central bank, and conversion to the central bank reserves. If it's gold, you convert it to gold. In other words, you go and shop and buy gold. If it's dollars, you go and exchange and you buy dollars. Okay? So, a bank run is deflationary. A bank run means rising demand for cash and falling demand for deposits, okay? And central bank run is highly deflationary. When the central bank run is successful, it results in the collapse of the central bank, in the collapse of the whole commercial banking system. We call this monetary system. Okay, let's write it out. Let's write it out. Monetary system consists of central banking system plus commercial banking system. It's not quite exactly in the textbook, I'm adding bits and pieces for you to understand. But this is the best, simplest, and easiest way to understand commercial. Now, in more advanced courses in investments, we can add on top of demand deposits the investments layer, stocks, bonds. On top of them, we add derivatives, but that's not for the very first course in money, banking, and finance. All right, so central banking is highly deflationary. Central bank run is devastating for the central bank, for the commercial banks, for the government, for the economy. All governments in the world are desperate under any circumstances to avoid a central bank run. Usually they do it by law. They say, it is impossible. You cannot do it. You try to do it, you go to jail. Or they'll just easily shut down the central bank. All right? And that's how it works, okay? Well, as soon as they shut down the central bank, what you get is a black market. The black market will develop, and as in Venezuela, the central bank will have one exchange rate, and you can't exchange much if you want, and there's going to be a black market which will develop on its own. But that's the important point. All right, we call this central bank run is called, this is the same for the central bank, it's called a currency run. You don't like the local currency? You convert it for some other currency. Maybe dollars, maybe gold, maybe euro, something else which consumers, people believe is more stable than the local currency. This currency run is also known, of course, as run on the currency. All right. At least we still got a little power over here, so it's a run on the currency. A bank run is called a run on the bank. All right. And now let's see what else I have here. So a little bit of this is covered here. Now, when we say central bank bailout, all right, when a central bank got a currency run, okay.